Okay, that's not the objective of this show or any exercise that I engage in with this position. The ball club made a good hire. And we're going to talk about that good hire today. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Brent Strom was officially named the Pirates' assistant pitching coach. I didn't like the way it made it out. That news made it out about a week ago. It struck me as someone who's been in this business for a long time as having been planted in certain places by the team so that all kinds of positive, warm and fuzzies would show up around the baseball world, not necessarily in Pittsburgh. And that's just silly. That reminds me of the predecessors. They used to obsess over what other people in the baseball industry thought about the Pirates as if that matters. Just win some games, you know? That said, Strom is immensely qualified, not just to be the assistant pitching coach in Pittsburgh, but to be the main pitching coach, as I pointed out a week ago. He's got credentials above and beyond anything that Oscar Marin could dream of or will ever dream of. He's been part of playoff teams. He's been part of World Series championships. He has coached multiple Cy Young winners. He has earned his respect throughout baseball, both at the player level and at the management level. He's also going to keep right on earning that respect because the man is 75 years old. He was just let go by the Diamondbacks, and he could have called it a day. No one would have said anything other than the nicest possible things if he had retired. But he's still going. And when it was the Pirates who reached out to him and spoke to him about, the caliber of starting pitchers that they have here, he became intrigued. He talked with his family about doing another year. And here he is. He sure isn't doing it for the money. He sure isn't doing it for any sort of, glamour or fame or whatever. He's here for the same reason that a lot of baseball lifers are actually baseball lifers, and that's that they love the game that much. And when it comes to pitching coaches specifically, they love pitching that much. So if you're Strom and you've worked with these great, legitimately great pitchers in the past, and you met Paul Skeens at the most recent All-Star game, had good talks with him, and you see that there's an opportunity to work with Skeens, with Jared Jones, with Bubba Chandler, at least in spring training, with Mitch Keller, the only established guy in the rotation. Yeah, there's something that's a little bit extra there. So I'll applaud Ben Cherington and his staff and whoever might have recommended it to him, or if it was Cherington's own initiative, to reach out to Strom once he lost his job in Phoenix and say, hey, how about us? I applaud Cherington for saying what we were doing here, it might have been good, it might have been okay, it might not have been good enough, but whatever it was, we could still benefit from having that voice, that set of eyes, that presence in our dugout. And I'll take this a step further. I'll applaud anything that any of these guys do, meaning Cherington and his staff, that doesn't have anything to do with analytics. And here's why I say that, not because of dumping on analytics or whatever. It's just that if that's the only thing you're emphasizing, you're gonna lose. You're gonna miss out. You're gonna get Brian De La Cruz. Although even the analytics would have told you that De La Cruz was going to be lousy. We're seeing this more and more around the sport right now, where there's a boomeranging back. There's a counter wind, if you will, where the analytics have gone so far and so deep into everything that you're seeing, hey, hang on a second. There's people who've been around this game their whole lives. They're not all the buffoons that were portrayed in that famous scene in Moneyball. They're not all dummies looking to see what kind of girlfriend the pitcher has to see what he thinks of himself. I am all in favor of that. There has to be a balance between statistical analysis and scouting analysis. Strom did a Zoom call yesterday after his hiring, and I just want you to listen to some of what he described as his approach that he's expecting to have with the younger pitchers in particular on the Pirates staff.
I ran into some situations at times where I've been trying to persuade people to do things, and it usually doesn't end up well. As long as you have a reason why you're trying to, let's say, for example, pitching inside, or let's say elevating the fastball, or using the fact that mixing and matching sequences, things like that. I think if you sit down and explain your reasoning why, I think then these young pitchers today, especially as analytically driven as they are, they start to realize that you have their best interests in mind, that you're not just throwing stuff up against the wall hoping that it sticks. And basically, with all the successes and failures that I've had throughout my pitching career with certain guys, I've been blessed to have some potential Hall of Famers, some Cy Young Award winners, obviously, but I've also had people that I've gone back and wondered, where did I miss on a certain guy who maybe had the talent to be good? And like I think learning never takes a holiday. And so I think my biggest thing is to get to meet these guys first, to see who they are, what their needs are, have them tell me what they need, and then basically work with Oscar to provide as much information as I can that is beneficial.
Yeah, that sounds just about right, doesn't it? That sounds like what you'd want. These young pitchers, believe you me, are not going to look at that guy as the old man who doesn't know anything. And boy, I'd much rather hear about my biomechanical analysis from Oscar. They're going to go to him. He is not going to be sitting there idle. I've gotten to know these younger pitchers, and they're very much the type to seek out information. They're not waiting and wondering. They do talk to each other, of course, that's just natural. But there's a massive difference between that and talking to someone of Strom's caliber. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Abandoned ship, Bob. Sell the team. Are you a Pirates fan who is angry or apathetic about our perennial losing baseball team? Do you feel helpless because you don't know how to make a difference? Well, good news. We have something you can do about it. Join our Sell the Team movement. We're a group of passionate fans voicing our frustration and demanding change through billboard campaigns, press outreach, protests, and involvement at local city government meetings. Go to OurTeamNotHis.com to get involved.
Today's J1Q comes from Rico, who asks, DK, you stated several times that Bob Nutting is ultra risk averse. Boy, easy for you to say this early in the day, my man. I always felt like one of the limiting factors for the pool of free agents that are available to the Pirates is that they're only willing to sign guys to one-year deals, and therefore we see these scrap heap signings. Who's making the call there? Is the GM limited as to who he can sign because he's not permitted to commit beyond 1 year? I'm not giving Ben Cherington a pass. He should have been gone yesterday. Yeah, he should have been gone yesterday. Rico, I'll agree with you on that before even attempting to answer the rest of this. No, the owner does not come in and say how long a contract can be. That's not something that I've heard from anybody who's worked under Nutting since he took control in 2007. Not once, not even intimated. But if you want to connect the 1 year contracts and the risk averse concept and then connect that to the owner of the franchise, I think that's easily done, because Nutting's greatest failing, number one, isn't payroll. As an owner, his greatest failing has been his inability to hire the right people. I believe that that's because, in part, he hires like-minded people, meaning similarly risk-averse. There's nothing that moves this general manager to action. We saw, it's easy to forget now, but in the 2024 season, there were periods there early on where the pitching that Pittsburgh was putting out there was out of this world. Like stuff that was just freaky and would make you think crazy, irrational thoughts about the Pirates and what they can be and what they could be in short order if only they would add, one decent bat or a couple above average bats. Nothing moves this guy. Zero. There's like the needle just sits there and dies. That's who you hired. That's who you wanted. That's who you said yes to in a process that had Matt Arnold as the other finalist, who's done really well for himself by being, an actually competitive guy working for a competitive owner in Milwaukee. So in a way, it's all threaded together. It's all one entity. And there is only one person at the very top. And on that note, there are a lot of people that would like to see that one person at the very top become somebody else, anybody else. I heard from Steve Berman yesterday. He's the man who's put together the billboard campaign, all kinds of other campaigns on the OurTeamNotHis.com website, where I believe this is all centralized. He let me know, Steve did yesterday, that the Sell the Team campaign has raised now $30,000. $30,000. This is just people. This is just people pitching in. They have their 5th billboard going in around the downtown Pittsburgh area. That'll be up on December 15th. So that's next week. I don't know exactly where that is. He didn't mention it. They've also produced some advertising. They've also got a 2-minute video, like a mini documentary that they've compiled regarding the recent protests. That's supposed to be out soon. They've also made 250 Sell the Team t-shirts in advance of Pirates Fest, which I think is in January. I'm sorry, I'm not having all this exact information for you here, but I heard from Steve yesterday. I wanted to share that with you. Those guys continue to do work that they very clearly believe in, because they also very clearly do not believe in Bob Nutting as the owner of the Pittsburgh Baseball Club. I appreciate hearing from you, Steve, from you, Rico, from you, everybody. And I appreciate you listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We'll be back with another one of these on Monday.